To secede or not to secede? That is the question. Well, Shakespeare didn't ask that one, but it's quite a statement, and it's one that we are actually looking at today on the podcast, and really interesting look at this. If I were to ask you how many of you are in favor of it, I bet we'd get a lot of different thoughts there. We're going to talk about that. We've got Nikki Knows Facts, Steve Shenanigans. Oh, you don't want to miss that segment. I'm telling you. And Ryan's doing a song review for us today. So, hi, Charlie Palmore here for Further Every Day. John Arthur has been given the day off. Who did that? Who did that? No, he's enjoying some much needed vacation time. By the way, when he's not on the podcast, he's typically traveling for work related stuff. So, but this time he is at a family reunion, and I hope he has a fantastic time. He will be back next week, but we're glad that you're here. And to my right, I have probably one of the most wonderful people that you would ever want to meet in the world, my wonderful wife. Golf clap, please.
Yes.
How are you, my darling?
Good, now that I'm awake.
I was going to say, you were tired earlier.
I was.
And she was acting it. So, guys, if she starts mumbling stuff today that doesn't sound right, she is not drunk. I'm telling you, she's not. She doesn't drink. So she's not drunk. She is just flat out tired. And that happens. But
we'll nickname her
Nikki knows tiredness.
Nikki Namer.
Nikki Namer. There we go.
The mumbler.
Mr. Steve, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. And I'm going to remain politically incorrect while John Arthur's gone. Just for you, John Arthur, if you're listening.
That is wonderful.
Yes, sir. I will.
Rai, the producer guy, is in the producer's chair. And so glad to have you over there helping us out today. I want to just give you one warning about this particular segment. And not a bad warning, but I just want to clue you in. I could have easily gone 2 to 3 hours with this topic today. And obviously we're not going to do that. We've got a fantastic show for you. So in areas where I could have gone deeper, give some grace if you would, please, because this is a really important topic. As you know, when we lead off our shows, we like to look at historical documents, all right? And John Arthur and I curated that list of documents that we wanted to go through. Many of you are aware that we've done a lot of different topics regarding the Federalist Papers, and we'll continue to do a few more of those. They are important documents. They were used to help in the founding of our country. So those documents are critically important. And as we've seen, they are very relevant to today. If I were to share with you the name of today's document, which is the Declaration of Causes, how many of you would actually know what I was talking about? Now, if I were sitting in your chair and I was not responsible for putting together this show today, I would sit there and go, I've never heard of that document. It's a really interesting document. And remember what I led off with. The statement was to secede or not to secede. That is the question. When you look back at this document comes from the mid-1800s. Can you say Civil War time? And there's a lot of things that is evoked, if you will, in our minds when we think about the Civil War. For some, maybe more than others, and duly noted. What I want you to understand is that this particular document was not just used by one state. I'm going to share with you how many in a few minutes. But let's get going with this particular document. And Mr. Ryan, would you give us cut number 1 there, please? So this is the document. This is the statement, the Declaration of Causes. And more specifically, I summed it up that way, but more specifically, this document that we're talking about today is going to apply to the state of South Carolina. And cut number 2, and you'll see that I have a nice little pictorial of South Carolina on your screen there to kind of remind you, all right, of this. But let's start out with a few questions. 1860, South Carolina says, we're leaving the Union. So long. And in a brand new nation, can I really call it brand new? That's tough to call it brand new. It's still fragile. I can say that. Maybe not brand new, but it is definitely fragile. It has overcome some hurdles, and now there's a major one, a major hurdle. If I were to ask you, and let me do it real quick here before I go any further with these questions. If I were to ask you, what was the Civil War about? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. Okay. By the way, if you're a listener, thank you so much. We are grateful for the downloads and everything and for you watching live. You can catch us on DLive. You can catch us on Vaughn, Rumble, YouTube. All right. Further every day. PSB if you're watching live. And every Sunday, 1 to 3 Central Time. And we are so thankful for you watching. But if I were to ask you what was the Civil War about, go ahead and drop that in the chat. Steve, let me know if you get some answers there. Let me keep going with the questions here. So the first question was, why did South Carolina leave the Union in 1860? Question number 2, are we susceptible to this today? Now, you'd kind of have to have your head in the sand in order to not know the answer to that question. That's something that is definitely talked about today, and probably more than you may realize. And I'll show you that a little bit later. But here's the bigger question. Is that a good thing? You might be surprised. We're going to end this thing with some biblical reference, and I hope that you'll catch the key points there. Cut number 3, if you would, Ryan. And before, you know what, Ryan, hang on just a moment. Let me give you a little more background here. In 1860, it was not just South Carolina leaving the Union. There was one key thing that kind of broke the camel's back, if you would. Okay? Does anybody remember what that was? It was the election of Abraham Lincoln. Now, for those of you that believe that Abraham Lincoln was an abolitionist when he first ran, you are sadly mistaken. He was not. He evolved into that during his 2 terms, but he was not an abolitionist. As a matter of fact, if you look at some of the things that he stated prior to his first election, he held some traditional views of blacks and whites at that time. Now, he became an abolitionist, obviously, but it was something that evolved over time. That's not what his stance was in the early going. But there is one key thing about him that they did know, that South Carolina did know, and that was this. He was not for slavery. He was absolutely anti-slavery. See the difference. Anti-slavery abolitionist is a person that is anti-slavery, also an abolitionist. Not necessarily. And that's the issue. So he definitely was anti-slavery. They did not want any part of that. Let me tell you how that election went, because there were 4 candidates. I did not realize that, but there were 4. So you've got Abraham Lincoln, who got 39.7% of the popular vote. Now, in today's time, if that's all that you got, everybody's going to be up in arms. How do you elect somebody like that? Now, this is also a great point, and this is one of those areas where I could have run off. The Electoral College is a really good thing. Yeah, okay? That's a debate for another time if you want to debate. But the Electoral College is a very good thing. He gets 39.7% of the popular vote, 180 electoral votes. John Bell, who is part of the Constitutional Union, he gets 39 electoral votes. John C. Breckinridge, he is a Southern Democrat. He gets 72 electoral votes. Stephen A. Douglas, Northern Democrat, receives 12 electoral votes. Now, let's take this for just a moment. You might be saying, Charlie, there's no reason that he should have been allowed to be president with just 39.7% and 180 electoral votes. Well, if you total up all three of the other candidates' electoral votes, we're only at 123. I think Lincoln clearly won. There is no issue. It's not up for debate. He won. Well, that means there's a flurry of activity that's going to be set off. South Carolina sees the proverbial train wreck coming, and they go ahead and they sign their little document, the Declaration of Causes, and they say, so long, welcome Abraham Lincoln to your pre-inaugural headaches. And that's exactly what he got to deal with. Now, what took us to that point? How did we get there? Okay, let's keep going. Cut number 3, Ryan. The people of the state of South Carolina in convention assembled on the 26th day of April, AD 1852. This is not 1860 that we're talking about at the moment. 1852 declared that the frequent violations of the Constitution of the United States by the federal government and its encroachments upon the reserved rights of the states fully justified this state in then withdrawing from the federal union. But in deference to the opinions and wishes of the other slave-holding states, she forbore at that time to exercise this right. Since that time, these encroachments have continued to increase, and further forbearance ceases to be a virtue. South Carolina said they were leaving the Union because the government was not holding to the Constitution. More on that as we move forward. But the real issue for them was the issue of slavery and the loss of productivity, which would lead to substantial economic loss. We hear threats of secession today, do we not? We do. Mm-hmm. You don't have to walk into Texas very long, and you'll probably hear it a little bit.
I would say that really it's only you hear that in Texas. You don't hear that in other states.
You do. It's just that we don't. We don't hear it. It's not a big deal. But I think, as a matter of fact, for you in the chat, I would be interested. If you're not part of the state of Texas, let us know how much you've really heard about Texas threatening to secede. Keep going.
I was saying, I've never heard of any other state but Texas.
You're going to be surprised when I bring up the list. It's going to blow your mind. It really will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And talking about slavery, King's Kid 1775 says slavery was expiring on its own.
Yeah, and King's Kid, you bring up a really interesting point there. Let me go further with this for just a moment before we go into that next cut. What was it when the Constitution was being put together? Remember, late 1700s. What was it that was originally asked for in the Constitution? The outlawing of slavery.
You brought that up one time.
Absolutely. And what was it that was demanded? Demanded. Put that out, or we're not ratifying. Mm-hmm. Well, is this a political problem or a moral problem? Ooh. Let me tell you something. Let me share a bit of wisdom for everybody. A moral problem will always lead to war, especially when you got people willing to stand for what is right.
And it did.
And it did. And what are we looking at today, folks? Yep. Let's keep going. Cut number 4, if you would, please, Ryan. And now, oh, by the way, just on that previous cut, I'm sorry, Ryan, I keep doing that to you. So when they started writing this document, the Declaration of Causes, what they did, they're building a case. They went back and said, you know what? We've had this issue since 1852, but out of the goodness of our hearts and in deference to other slaveholding states, we're going to just hold off. All right, let's keep going, Ryan. Cut number 4. And now the state of South Carolina, having resumed her separate, get the word, an equal place among nations, deems it due to herself, to the remaining United States of America, and to the nations of the world, that she should declare the immediate causes which have led to this act. This issue has been percolating since 1852, at least as far as South Carolina is concerned. They've been dealing with this. It's been festering, stirring. Their stated issue? No, they didn't say slavery. They didn't say that. This is the genius of lawyers. This was all about, wait for it, states' rights. Now, I'm fixing to blow your mind in just a minute.
States' rights to what?
Oh, states' rights in general. So let's make this a modern day application right now. What did President Trump help do with regards to the issue of abortion? What did it become?
A state issue.
A state issue. It is no longer a national issue. For those of you that think Trump is anti-abortion, he could be, but I don't think he is.
But when it goes to the state, then the people of the state make the decision.
Yep.
That's what Trump did.
Yep.
Is he said, okay, the federal government's not going to make this decision. The people in those individual states can make the decision for themselves.
I'm going to tell you what the brilliance of Donald Trump is. He knows how to take a burning issue that is national and get it off the burner. And that's what he did. He really did. Now, did we solve the issue of abortion? Oh, Lord, no. Lord, no. In some states we did, not in all states. That's not what we're here to debate today. I'm bringing that up because that is a clear issue right there of states' rights. So, South Carolina wants to make this an issue about states' rights. And Ryan may be thinking, probably is, well, what states' rights are we talking about when it comes to the Declaration of Causes? Glad you asked. We're going to get to that in just a moment. But let's go ahead and keep going. How about cut number 5 there, Mr. Ryan? In the year 1765, that portion of the British Empire embracing Great Britain undertook to make laws for the government of that portion composed of the 13 American colonies. A struggle for the right of self-government ensued, which resulted on the 4th of July, 1776, in a declaration by the colonies that they are and of right ought to be free and independent states. Now remember, we've covered this. What's the difficulty of independent states? Who's going to fight for everybody? You're going to have to rely on every individual state to provide troops to do that. And what they were finding is that's really difficult to do.
Why would a northern state fight for a southern state that say that had to deal with cotton? And the northern state says, well, that's not our problem. That's your problem. Because cotton is part of the economy of the South, but not part of the economy of the North. And so the South would have, I'm just saying if they were threatened in that way.
Sure.
I'm just using that as an example.
Let's keep going with cut number 5. And that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. So they begin building their case for this. They have full power to levy war, build commerce, contract alliances. They can do all the things which other nations do. Now, I want you to think about this. You've got all the states. Go ahead, remove South Carolina. Where do you think that really leaves South Carolina as an independent nation? The first question, by the way, I don't care if you live in Texas. I don't care if you live in Oregon. I don't care if you live in Alaska. I don't care if you live in Maine. I don't care if you live in Rhode Island. If you want to threaten secession, there is one thing that you better think about before you do it. Can I sustain myself as a state or nation? I can tell you Texas can. I can tell you Alaska can. I don't know about Maine. You get what I'm getting at here. Rhode Island? Really? I don't think so. You're going to be eating an awful lot of crab and fish up there. And I have no idea how you're going to get your clothes. Now let's come back to South Carolina, because these are the guys that did it. You think that you're going to survive without the others. I think you're leaving yourself in a pretty bad place. My gut tells me they already knew the answer to that question, and they knew it wasn't going to remain that way. And it didn't. I'll show you how in just a moment. Cut number 6, Ryan. They further solemnly declared that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of the ends for which it was established, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. I'm going to comment on that in just a moment. And to institute a new government. Deeming the government of Great Britain to have become destructive of these ends, they declared that the colonies are absolved from all allegiance to the British crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. Cut number 7. If only 9 of the 13 states had occurred, the other 4 would have remained as they then were, separate sovereign states, independent of any of the provisions of the Constitution. In fact, 2 of the states did not accede to the Constitution until long after it had gone into operation among the other 11. And during that interval, they each exercised the functions of an independent nation. That is most interesting. That is most interesting, and I have not studied that out. But I do have some comments here. They additionally state that any form of government becomes destructive of the ends for which it was established. Note that South Carolina, nor any of the other states that left the Union, did that. They didn't. They declared their own independence. Did they try to abolish the government? Nope. Did they try to change the government? Nope. Did they try to create a new government? Nope. All they did is just, we're out. That's not what the Constitution called for.
Sounds like a spoiled brat kid.
Yes. Yes. Now, what you're going to find out, guys, they actually had a legal, legitimate claim. We'll talk about it in a moment. So they didn't try to do any of that stuff. They did not try to abolish it. They simply said, we're moving on. Now, this has major implications. And we talked about a few of them. The one that I haven't talked about is, what if the other states had decided to invade? Ouch. Now, did South Carolina think that through? They probably did. Did they think somebody was going to invade them? Well, it certainly wouldn't have been the other colonies, the other states. But if I were in South Carolina's seat, in their shoes, I definitely would have thought about Britain or France. I would have given that some careful thought, or Lord knows who else. I'm not sure they thought this through very well. Cut number 8, Ryan, if we could please. We hold that the government thus established is subject to the 2 great principles asserted in the Declaration of Independence. And we hold further that the mode of its formation subjects it to a 3rd fundamental principle, namely the law of compact. Well. Now, I don't know about you guys. This is another thing that I did not learn about in school. Maybe they brought it up. I don't remember. Don't know. Maybe you got taught the law of compact. I don't remember that. So what is it? Cut number 9, Ryan, if you would please. We maintain that in every compact between two or more parties, the obligation is mutual, that the failure of one of the contracting parties to perform a material part of the agreement entirely releases the obligation and the other. Now watch this. This is unreal. And that where no arbiter is provided, each party is remitted to his own judgment to determine the fact of failure with all its consequences. Now, Steve used a really interesting phrase just a few moments ago. It sounds like a bunch of spoiled brats. I mean, no disrespect to any South Carolinian here that's listening. I do not. But I'm going to tell you something. That language right there is spoiled brat language. Let me tell you what they really did. First of all, they said that the obligation is mutual. Duly noted. Anytime you come into an agreement, guess what it is? It's an agreement. It's mutual. You're saying by putting your signature on it, you're saying, I agree to that. And the other party does the same. So I don't have a problem with that. The failure of one of those parties in performing the material part, in other words, upholding the agreement, of those obligations entirely releases the other party from the agreement. I also agree with that. Not only each party is remitted to his own judgment to determine the fact of failure with all its consequences. I don't agree with that at all. Does that really sound like a binding agreement to you? Doesn't to me. That's a get out of jail free card. That's what that is. Look at the statement. Where no arbiter is provided, each party is remitted to his own judgment. Are you serious? At this point, if I had been part of the union and I was a leader and I saw that, I would have been very tempted to take a match and burn it, because that goes against every bit of what has been done up to that point in time. Your wonderful lawyers down there in South Carolina sent us a nice little thing and said that we get to be the judge. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's not up to you. Oh, and by the way, we're not the judge either. We have judges. It's called the Supreme Court. That's where it should go. Now, if you still have issues with it after that, okay, understood. But you don't get to be the judge. That's not right. So basically, they're saying if there's no judge, we will be our own. You won't. This very line is extremely damaging to the union. This is where you're taking a hammer and chisel, maybe I should say a sledge and chisel, and you are fracturing. That's what that line did. That was really hurtful. If every state can claim the compact is broken whenever they disagree, there is no union. Just 30 odd states loosely hanging together until one gets upset. Nope. I told you there was more than one state that left. This is rebellion cloaked in legal language. That's all this is. Charlie, are you saying this is not a legal document? You're getting a lot closer. You're getting a lot closer. This is foolishness. It wasn't a mutual decision by all parties. It was a unilateral act. That's what it really was. Dressed up as a constitutional reasoning. By the way, do we see that today? Holy cow. Turn on, oh, I hate to say this. Turn on MSNBC and CNN for just 5 minutes, and you will hear about a constitutional crisis. Turn it off after 5 minutes. Imagine someone says, I'll stay married to you as long as I think you're keeping your vows, but I get to decide whether you are, and if you are not, I can leave anytime without consequence. That's what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying. So here's ultimately what led to the Civil War. Was the Constitution a binding nation? That was Lincoln's view. That was Lincoln's view. Or a revocable contract between sovereign states. That's South Carolina's view. Yeah. Cut number 10. In the present case, that fact is established with certainty. Ooh. We assert that 14 of the states have deliberately refused for years past to fulfill their constitutional obligations, and we refer to their own statutes for the proof. Okay, I'm listening. Seriously, I'm listening. And guys, I about fell out of my chair when I was going through preparing for this, because I'm like, they're not going to find anything. Oh yeah, they did. They most certainly did. Are you ready? Cut number 11. The Constitution of the United States, in its 4th article, provides as follows, and I'll give you the specifics in just a second here. No person held to service or labor in one state, i.e. slave, under the laws thereof, escaping into another, i.e. a slave escapes, shall, in consequence of any law or regulation therein, be discharged from such service or labor, but shall be delivered up on claim of the party to whom such service or labor may be due. That's Article 4, Section 2, Clause 3. Yeah, link in the description. You can read it for yourself. Was this true? Yes, it was. It was. Now, did that justify South Carolina doing what it did? Nope. Nope. And I'm going to go back to that in just a minute. That did not give them justification for leaving the Union. They have a course of action. They need to take it. And they didn't want to, because this is what they were looking at, guys. And here, look at me. This is so important. Please don't miss this. The day that we put our pocketbooks ahead of morality will be the day that starts the end. The day that we put our pocketbooks before our morality is the day that starts the end. What was South Carolina doing? And all the states that followed after them, what were they doing? They were doing that. They knew that if they could not keep the slaves, that economically speaking, they were finished. And folks, I'm not being racist here. I'm just telling you what the facts of that time were. This is not right. And I go back to the key point I made earlier. At the time of writing the Constitution, there was the opportunity to deal with this issue, and people gave in for the sake of ratifying the Constitution. Do you know why we're here? Why are we at 1860 with people with states leaving the Union? Because we have not dealt with a moral issue appropriately. Go ahead.
So what you're saying here, so everybody understands, is that you had the southern states that had slavery and you had the northern states that did not, and it was illegal to have slaves in the northern states. So the southern states, the slaves would escape to northern states, And
because they knew there was freedom there.
They knew there was freedom. And that's where the Underground Railroad comes in.
Absolutely.
And many of them even went on to Canada to prevent them being
brought back.
That's correct. So here's the moral problem. Slavery's wrong. Chattel slavery is just wrong. And a lot of people knew that it was wrong. And so if I were in a northern state and a slave escaped and came to, I would not turn him in. I would not send him back. I would do everything I could to get him out of that because it's morally wrong. The same with abortion. It's morally wrong, and we have a problem with that.
But weren't there slaves in the Bible?
That's man. We can get into that topic.
That's a different type of. That's being indentured servant is different than chattel slavery. What we had in the United States.
And I don't want to get sidetracked on that. Beautiful question. Maybe we'll. You know what, Ryan? A great question for an apologetics session.
Exactly.
And we'll do it. Thank you very much. Just remind me. Keep going, Nikki.
So as the southern states look at black men and women as property, northern states were looking at that's a person. You're not property.
Yep.
And so there's the moral dilemma that did not get taken care of at the beginning. And it makes me wonder how that would have worked if they had said that. The southern states would have gone their way, and the northern states may have gone their way. And had been in a smaller United States, but at the same time, then would have Britain been able to come in and conquer one.
And that's it. Look, boy, you get into all sorts of questions here, and that's exactly right. Those are the kinds of questions that come up. And by the way, I don't think there's much difference with this issue today when it comes to Chinese goods. If you think that people are honestly doing honest work because of their choosing to do that work in China, maybe you need to make a trip to China and talk to people. There's some that are. I don't discount that, but many are not. They're forced to, and they're forced to work for very low, if maybe non-existent wages. So, yeah. I've got on cut number 12 here. This is the actual reading of the article that I was referencing, the clause. Put that up there, Ryan. Yep. So this is what that looks like. Again, link in the description. You can read it, and it's there. It's plain. You don't have to be a lawyer to see this. And South Carolina had a legitimate claim. Now, did I call slavery legitimate? No. It's a moral issue that should have been dealt with, and it wasn't. Here's my point. They used this to just leave because it's not being followed. Was that the right thing? It's why we have the Supreme Court. And they did not go there. That's the issue. Now that they'll tell you, they probably would try to make the case that they did, and it wasn't ruled right. I don't know. I don't think you can make a very good case for it. Cut 13. This is interesting language here. Oh, man.
Huh?
That was Ryan. He got the wrong button there. Ryan got the wrong button.
I think that was from last week, maybe.
Was it? Oh,
was it?
You know
Yeah.
what?
Was that
I know
hanging over?
why. And you know what, Ryan? I appreciate you doing that because I didn't realize there was a sound attached to that slide. My
Yeah, I
bad.
forgot to take that off.
Man.
Sorry, guys.
So to everybody,
Need to get
right?
rid of that cheese.
Man.
I apologize.
Here's the slide. For 25 years, this agitation has been steadily increasing until it is now secured to its aid the power of the common government. Observing the forms of the Constitution, a sectional party is found within that article establishing the executive department, the means of subverting the Constitution itself. Could have been what they're really doing is they're accusing leadership of working around this issue. Maybe. We know that's possible. Cut number 14, please, Ryan. A geographical line, that's the Mason-Dixon line, has been drawn across the Union, and all the states north of that line have united in the election of a man to the high office of President of the United States, whose opinions and purposes, this is what they say about Trump, hostile to slavery, although they say he's hostile to the Constitution. He is to be entrusted with the administration of the common government because he has declared that the government cannot endure permanently half slave, half free. I agree with that. And that the public mind must rest in the belief that slavery is in the course of ultimate extinction. More assertions. We've got the issue of the Mason-Dixon line. Now let me give you a little more context here, okay? Because this is important. You've got Abraham Lincoln that has been elected. He's not a slavery guy. There's just no way. And what was happening as more and more states were being added to the Union. Watch this. You cannot have slavery in the new state. It's almost like they were grandfathering and saying, if you have slavery in your state, you can keep it. But if you're new, that's not happening. Well, how were states being added? From the north down. So now we've got the issue of the Mason-Dixon line. Missouri did a wonderful thing. And Missouri, I do not see Missouri as this is Pomeroy opinion. I do not see Missouri as a red state. I see them more as a purple state. They try to ride the fence. And you know what? When you go back to the mid-1800s, what is Missouri doing? They're riding the fence. They're trying to find a solution that will work. I like that. It's kind of Trumponian there, if you will. He tries to find a solution that works for everybody. Art of the deal. So Missouri says, look, we're going to draw a line across, okay? And it's also referred to as the Mason-Dixon line. And y'all to the north, no slavery. Y'all to the south, okay. I go back to some biblical references here. Shall I? Yeah, I shall. As soon as I find it. Give me a moment. Here we go. Matthew chapter 12, verses 25 to 26. And Jesus knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? Good questions. Really good questions brought by our Lord and Savior. Okay, well, if we had only dealt with it in the early day, that was the key. That was the key. So, Charlie, what states were the ones that seceded? I'm glad you asked. Cut number 15.
You know, I was just wondering.
Go ahead there. Go ahead, Steve.
I was wondering what states.
The list is going to blow your mind.
I'm interested to hear.
So, South Carolina. Would anybody have thought Mississippi? Absolutely.
Really?
Heavy slave state. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And what is their industry?
Oh, my goodness.
Big time cotton.
Look at that statement there. That's awful.
Yeah. So South Carolina, first to secede after Lincoln's election, issued the Declaration of Causes that you're studying. By the way, these other states, they just kind of use the same language from South Carolina. Mississippi declared slavery the greatest material interest of the world.
That's horrible.
Ouch.
That's
that
absolutely
doesn't
horrible.
surprise me.
No, that's just wrong.
That's just wrong.
That's
just wrong.
Mississippi has held a idea like that for, man, a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, they've had a bad reputation, should I say, in regards to that.
Race related stuff.
Yes.
Yep. Next cut, Ryan. Let's go to 16. How about number 3, Florida? They followed quickly. They're aligning with the Deep South states. That's what they're doing. Number 4, Alabama cited northern hostility towards slavery.
You got that right.
Are you listening to the kind of language here, folks? We're living in this day and age right now. I mean, talk about your different states. Oh, the liberal states of America, the Californians, they love Texas. Don't you, Gavin? You're welcome. We're going to preserve as much freedom as we can, and we will stand in your way. Gladly.
Texas.
Gladly. I could go on. Sorry. I'm venting here for a moment. Georgia accused the North of violating the Constitution by opposing slavery. That's a lie. That is a lie. They're not opposing the Constitution. They're just not living up to every facet of it. Slavery was allowed in the Constitution. Article 4, Section 2, Clause 3. You cannot misread it. It's there. Number 6. Next cut, Ryan. Number 6, Louisiana. And they controlled the crucial Mississippi River Delta. Ouch. That one hurt. Notice the dates on all these. Texas. I cannot believe my beloved state joined, citing the debasing doctrine of equality of all men. Are you kidding me?
What does that mean?
That means they don't believe in the equality of all men like the North did.
It's just dumb.
It's just dumb. Next cut, Ryan.
But you know something?
Yep.
Texas has done a big 180 on that.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have.
A major 180 on that.
And by the way, for those of you that give ear, what's her name? I don't even want to say. Oh no!
Oh, God, what'd you say that for?
You should not. You should not give her one moment of your ear.
Man,
I have never heard anybody. No, I have. I've heard a few that can speak as many lies in 1 minute as she can. It is mind blowing, and she is. Yeah. Okay.
When she opens her mouth, she lies.
Yeah.
It just comes out.
The lies are unbelievable. Here's the states that seceded in the 1800s. Confederate government formed February 4th, 1861. Provisional Confederate Congress met in, Montgomery, Alabama. And here's the 8th state to secede, Virginia. That took them long enough. Joined after Fort Sumter and Lincoln's calls for troops.
You know, you would have thought Virginia would be one of the first ones.
I would have too. I would have too.
So when did they actually form the Confederacy?
Go back to that cut, Ryan. Right there. February 4th, 1861.
Okay, the Confederate government.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep. All right, next cut, Mr. Ryan, number 19. Oh, the great state of Arkansas. Initially resisted, but joined after Lincoln's troop call. North Carolina, May 20th, 1861, seceded reluctantly, emphasizing state loyalty. Come on. Man up. State number 11, Tennessee. June 8th, 1861. Do you see how quickly this is moving? I mean, it's just rapid.
It must have felt really devastating for the people left in the United States.
Okay, all right.
I think
that, darling, speak to that.
Well, if you love your country and you're in the North and this is a moral issue, and then you start seeing all these countries that are leaving the United States, especially back in that time, I would think it would be very scary and very.
I'm going to say demoralizing.
Yes, I think that's a good term.
Very demoralizing. And can I just say this before we go to the next cut? If you had asked Mr. Charlie 5 years ago, Mr. Charlie, should Texas secede? Amen, 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 and amen. I'm done with America. I am done with the progressive, woke, liberal left. You can have it. We'll be good. That's not the right attitude. It's not.
Yeah, I'd say probably about 7 years ago, I had that same attitude.
A lot of people. Yeah. And by the way, Miss Nikki's, you come to Texas, you're going to hear people talk about it. Yeah. By the way, it's not serious. And many Texans believe, I'm going to show you something here in just a moment. Many Texans believe that Texas is one of the only states that can secede from the Union. Wrong.
I always thought it could. I thought that was part of the contract. When
that is a fad. That's a myth. And I'll show you why in just a minute. So, Ryan, are we ready to show everybody that has talked about seceding? Please do. Cut number 20. Texas from the 1990s to the present. California. Okay, wait a minute.
Huh? What?
Am I okay with California seceding?
No.
No. Am I okay with getting rid of them? Yep.
No, what you want in California is you want them broken down into 3 separate states.
There you go. They've been threatening that from 2010 to the 20s. What do you got, Steve?
I would be more apt to get everybody out of California and let it fall off into the sea.
Oh my goodness. This is too much. How about Alaska?
Well, maybe all the conservative
don't
people
go there.
Out of California.
Next that cut. I need that cut. Cut 20. Alaska. They threatened it back in the 1950s and then again in the 2000s. Now, here's the thing with Alaska. Could Alaska sustain itself? Yes,
yeah,
with the help of Canada, they could. Here's where they would need the help. They need land to grow food. And while they could grow food up there, no, they could. They could sustain themselves. They could. That is another state that could do it. It'd be tough living, but they could do it. How about Vermont? Bernie. Yes. Go for it. They've been claiming it since the 2000s. Hawaii. Oh, if you want to study something really interesting in history, guys, you need to look at the state of Hawaii. And my heart kind of aches for how that all took place. That's a little bit of a heartbreaker there.
Alaska's got a lot of gold. I don't think.
Yeah, they do. And what does Hawaii have?
A lot of good fishing.
Yeah. Hawaii has incredible beauty. And by the way, if you've never been to the state of Hawaii, I would encourage you to go. I would. It's a very beautiful state, no doubt. It is rich in culture, and they don't want you messing with it. And I get why. Mm-hmm. I totally get why. I don't agree with the culture of their past. I don't. But that doesn't mean that they're bad people or anything like that. But it's a state that really was, I'm going to say it was forced into the Union for all intents and purposes. That's a Mr. Charlie opinion. You need to do your own studying on that. New Hampshire. Oh, man. Still reminds me of Bernie. And southern states, there's other southern states in the 50s and 60s that have threatened this. Yeah. There's a number of states that have threatened secession. The thing is, I want you to look at what has pushed us to those talks today. Ryan, next cut. Immigration enforcement. That's a big one. I mean, look at what we're talking about today. I'll be honest with you, and guys, don't misunderstand me. I'm not pushing for secession by Texas or Arizona or Florida. But if there were some states that could make a really strong case for it, They could have made it like South Carolina. Do you know how many people are overrunning? Were overrunning. Thank you, President Trump. The borders in these states. Florida, Governor DeSantis has done a great job in maintaining what's going on there. They've always had a pretty good handle on it. Texas has done a great job, I would say, in the last 10 years. They've done a very good job.
Well, Texas has its own power grid too, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does.
I think it's the only state that does.
Arizona, they've not done nearly as well with the immigration issue as the other two. Now, why is it that there's so much talk about secession? Well, that certainly doesn't help. The abortion issue doesn't help. We've got environmental regulations that don't help. We've got gun control. Oh, can we talk about LGBTQ elemental P plus? How about racial issues?
Why don't we leave the T off?
Well, actually, they have modified their acronym.
They're no longer with the.
Here's.
By the way, that goes to the heart of something else here. So I appreciate you bringing that up, because here we go. A house divided, how shall it stand?
Does it?
It can't.
It can't.
Correct.
Guys, one of the things that you need to think about, is it easier to live on your own or with others?
With others.
Is it easier in a survival situation on your own or with others?
Others.
Clearly.
As long as there's enough food.
That's exactly right. But even then, if
Right.
you're working together,
Yeah.
what can you do? Mm-hmm. More food.
But you know, the Bible does say it's better to live in the corner of the attic.
I don't think that's...
Taking it out of context.
Yeah, I think you're a little out of context.
Here's a neat comment from Cheryl Ann.
Let's hear it.
Everything is bigger in Alaska. Great for keto and carnivore.
Yeah, she's got that right.
Somebody give me some moose. Oh,
that one's pretty good, Cheryl Ann.
That was.
I like that one.
Here's what we need to do. Individually, we need to pursue God. Next cut, Ryan. And we need to get involved in our country. We need to vote. If you are sitting out there today and you're not voting in every election, and I say this again and again and again, guys, the election that you need to vote in is not just the general election. It's the primaries. It's the primaries. Why is it that we can get a pretty fair turnout for a general election? And I say fair, and I use that word really loosely. Why is it that we can get a fairly good turnout for the general election, but we can't for a primary? That's the most important one. Oh, wow. Keep that cut up there, Ryan, if you would, please. Enforce the laws on our books. We don't need more laws. We do not need more laws. And we need to promote clarity, truth, and dialogue. Those are the antidotes. Yep, I would say so. Now, I wanted to conclude with this. Ryan, if you would, cut number 23. When South Carolina left the Union in 1860, it justified its decision as a defense of constitutional rights. But reading the text, it's clear those rights centered on preserving slavery. Today, we still see those same tensions. Debates over states' rights, moral divides, and the balance between liberty and unity. The lesson is pretty timeless. When we as Americans define freedom differently, the Union itself feels the strain. To secede or not to secede? It's not really a question. It's not right. I told you I would give you one very important final fact here, and I will. Can a state secede from the Union? The answer is no.
So are you saying that Texas, that we've been told, Texas said that when they came into the Union.
Texas of all states should understand they cannot secede. And I'll give you that in just a moment. Charlie, have you got legal precedent to back that up? Glad you asked.
Yes.
You can go back to 1869 and the Supreme Court case there. And it hinged on something that Lincoln actually had promoted beforehand. And I want to try, and I should have had this up ready to roll. Sorry. Let me see if I can find it. I want to get the actual language for this. Okay? Let me see if I can get this.
We'll wait, Charles.
You'll wait? (1869). I don't have the name of the case. I will get it and we'll put it in the notes. But here's the other case. Oh, here it is. Yep. Texas versus White. Texas versus White. Chief Justice Salmon P. Chase wrote, "The acts of secession were absolutely null. The Union, in contemplation of law, never ceased to exist." The viewpoint is that they were in rebellion. It's where we get the term rebels. Did they actually secede? Nope. Because you will not see anything that happened after this that showed that those states rejoined the Union. They never did, because they were considered to have never left.
So they're rebels?
They're rebels.
So us in Texas are rebels?
That's what they...
Woohoo!
No.
Woohoo!
Mr. Politically Incorrect.
But do you know what? Do you have any of the of what was when Texas joined the Union? Why does everybody say that it was part of the agreement? Do we have that agreement on
So the
file?
question becomes this: what agreement would we have made
With Texas?
What agreement did Texas make to get into the Union? They signed on to what? Correct. The U.S. Constitution. What is the only avenue that a state can leave the Union? Ding, 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 ding. Your answer is the dissolution by the other states. The other states have to agree to it.
But we've been told so many times.
My darling, you can believe this as passionately as you want. From a legal standpoint,
when you sign a document and an agreement,
that's it.
A legal document, and you sign into it.
That's what you're bound by.
You are guaranteed and assigned to that document. And if Texas founders signed the Constitution, they are to abide by it, period. No ifs, ands, or buts, regardless of what Texas has in theirs. If they sign a binding agreement, which is the United States Constitution, and it says they can only leave because of this, that's the only reason they can leave.
And by the way, let me just say this, folks. Can states leave? They could. It would bring up a very interesting dynamic. Do the states that are still in the Union go after that other state? Wow. If Texas were to secede and you were living in one of the other states, what would you do? I'd want to go back and get Texas.
Sure.
She's a beautiful state. She's important to this nation. There's no doubt. And I'm not saying that the other 49 are not. I'm not saying that at all. I've already told you, I don't agree with secession. It's not right. All I'm saying is that you've got to understand there's a lot of dynamics, and one is, and I know there's probably people making this case, I don't need to agree by any binding agreement. Well, there's another moral dilemma. Well, but if you take South Carolina, who has said, we're done, we're out of here. That's what they did, and 10 others signed on with them. That's almost half your nation.
Yeah, and I would say, like right now, 50 states in our nation, who would want any state
Right.
to succeed? I mean, I
Absolutely.
make a joke about California, and that's all it is just
A joke.
a joke, and I'm saying stuff just to be considered like that. And but the thing is that in reality we are stronger as a 50 state
Yes.
nation
Yes.
than we are in anything less than that.
Major point. If you're going to secede, you have to ask a major question. Can we survive? And I'm so glad we asked that question, because that moves us into Steve's shenanigans,
Oh,
which Steve has got a great topic for us today. Mr. Ryan, are we ready? Let's do it.
Right on, Captain. I can go shoot me a buffalo.
Nope.
Stay out of my garbage can. I'll keep it to myself.
We are talking about survival items.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me just warn everybody real quick. When we're talking about survival items, we are talking about a situation where you've lost a lot of things that are necessary. I'm sorry, not necessary. Things that you are used to living with. And you're having to come up with some ideas to continue your survival, if you will.
Correct.
So what Steve did is he kind of marched around in the garage and he was looking at some stuff and he's like, boy, this would come in handy. This would come in handy. And these are common everyday things that you may have around in your garage. And Steve's going to share with you a little bit about what you might use these items for. Are we ready? Let's do cut number 25, Mr. Ryan. This one's an interesting one. Tell us more, Steve.
Yes. Now, this is, I'll tell you what, this is something I think everybody, whether you go outdoors or not, everyone should have. It's called a thermocell. This item can keep all mosquitoes, biting flies, all kinds of biting insects away from you up to 10 to 15 feet.
ooh.
I have used this for years in some of the worst conditions of bugs, biting bugs. I mean, out in the worst marshes, fishing, hunting, black flies. I mean, some of the worst conditions. And it
I need to
works
get me one of these things because I don't have one.
What does it do?
It keeps bugs
Well,
away.
I know, but
biting
but
bugs.
how? Again,
It has
how?
in it, what it has is it's got a little sparker in it. And inside it, you screw in a little butane container
Okay.
and you light it. And it's got a little burner in it, and it's got a little flat piece on it, a little metal piece, and it heats up. And you have these pads that sit on it that have like I guess some kind of stuff that keeps bugs away. And what it does is it turns into
A smell?
like a smoke,
Okay.
and it comes out and it goes out and around. Now, what I found that even when I hunt and I've had animals downwind, it doesn't scare them off.
That doesn't. Okay. Okay.
The odor doesn't cause them to run off. I've had animals walk right downwind of me with no problem.
Yeah.
But bugs are different.
But it gets the bugs away.
Does it have
and
an
you
odor?
want to know where it originally was used?
Where?
Who it was using it
I'm gonna
before
say
it came
Vietnam.
to the market was used by, from what I understand, was snipers in the military because they would use it, set it out, and it would keep bugs away from them.
They can't be disturbed.
Correct. So they can lay there and sit without having to move.
Okay. Okay.
And they don't get seen.
Okay.
Next cut,
moving.
Mr. Ryan.
And I'll tell you what, they make them in different ways. They make one that looks like a little lantern that you can sit outside on a patio, and it just sits there. And these things are wonderful, man. I'll tell you, absolutely marvelous. Worth every cent you ever spend on them.
Wonderful. Next cut, Mr. Ryan, number 26. I love this.
This thing will hold. Now, you're not going to believe the size of this cast iron.
That's huge. That's actually pretty big.
This dude will probably hold about 3 gallons.
I was going to say, you're going to feed a number of people with this.
This dude is probably, the lid on it is probably that big around. Man, I am not kidding you. It's huge.
So let me share something with you all real quick. I brought this guy up earlier. Cowboy Kent Collins will show you how to cook with these things. If you really want to understand the best way to cook with a cast iron Dutch oven, you want to go check out YouTube. The channel is Cowboy Kent Rollins, KentRollins. He will show you. He's got some great foods to do in a cast iron, and you've made some great ones.
Yes, and with a Dutch oven, you can cook anything in them. You can bake. You can cook stews. I mean, you can anything in a Dutch oven, because the way that lid is made, you can put coals on the top, and it will heat from the top and from the bottom.
We have
or all the way around and pile coals all around it.
It's really interesting.
Great.
If you're interested in that, go watch what the man that Charlie just suggested. But we use a lot of cast iron at my house.
Oh,
it's a way to cook.
Yeah, it is. I love cast iron. Love it.
Let's go to the next cut. Number 27, Ryan.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. Every time I go camping, doesn't matter where I go, if it's up a bayou 7 miles, I have a bucket with me.
Yep.
Because I'll tell you what, you wouldn't believe what you can do with a 5-gallon bucket, man.
There's a lot. And you're talking about, I mean, the importance of being able to carry water.
Exactly.
I mean, that's one of the first and foremost issues that you have to deal with in survival situations. And I'll tell you, a 5-gallon bucket, 2 of them would be pretty precious.
Yes, you can wash out of them. You can carry items with them.
Yes, yes.
You can, one thing that's really great that I've done hundreds of times is bathe out of them.
Yep. Yep.
Man, I have bathed out of a 5-gallon bucket. I can't tell you how many times.
Yep.
Right.
Good stuff.
Man, a 5-gallon bucket is a great thing to have.
Some of you are going to look at this next one and you're going to go, I would have thought that would have been number 1. We'll talk about that in a moment, but bring it up, Ryan. Number 28. Oh, yeah.
Yep. The amazing duct tape. Whack, whack.
I was watching a show, this is a few years ago, a survival type show. And what they did was they took a pallet. Yes, you heard that right. A pallet of duct tape into the wilderness and said, make a boat with it and float down the river. One guy was able to do it out of 3. One guy was able to do it.
Check this out. We went up a bayou where we normally go every year. I've taken my kids and I've gone up it since I was, in high school. I don't know. Couldn't tell you how many years ago that was. And been taking my boys, and my oldest one is in his 40s. I started taking him when he was 10. And been going for years. We were up there one year and, man, couldn't figure out what the heck. Man, we were getting water in the boat. And I was like, man, what's the deal? We bailing this, couldn't figure it out. And pulled the boat up the bank. You know, here's got a 4-foot bank. We get everything out of the boat, pull it up and look. We got a crack in the bottom of the boat in one of the runners this long. No, it was about 10, 12 inches long and about
so you've
a quarter of an inch wide. And we're going,
that's a
how are we going to get back 7 miles and going slow?
Don't
you
tell
know
me
what
you
we
had
did?
duct tape.
Duct tape
Oh,
and cheese.
Cheese
And duct tape. Check this out. Hey, check it out. Now, you want to talk about survival? You know what we did? We took cheese.
you thinned it up. You thinned it.
Dude, we took cheese, fixed it up, stuck it down in the hole, and then put layers of duct tape wide and over the top and spread it out and had
hilarious.
it this wide and had it laid up.
And it worked.
And it worked and got us 7 miles back to the landing, going over logs and everything, Charlie, with duct tape and cheese in a crack on one of the runners. Dude, bam! Duct tape is great, dudes. I'm telling you, it worked. So we've made rope out of it. We've used, yes.
Yep, I can see that.
I mean, you can. Duct tape works for man. I'll tell you, you can do all kinds of stuff with duct tape.
Now look,
it's
folks,
unreal.
We're not telling you that you should plan on taking a pallet of duct tape to the woods. I'm not telling you to buy a pallet of duct tape to put in your garage just in case. No. We're not telling you
to duct tape your boat either.
No. This is
it shows in a survival situation.
Correct.
You have to be creative.
Correct.
You have to.
Yes.
So
very much so.
Okay, so Ryan, don't go to the next one. I want you to go to cut number 30 because we got to end with this one here.
Okay.
This is now look. Some of you all are going, I ain't never seen that before. Okay. And some of you are going, oh, man, that brings back some memories.
Mm-hmm.
The good old-fashioned wood planer.
Yes, sir. And this is an old one, too. Real old. As a matter of fact, this on a wood planer, you and I talked about using a wood planer for survival stuff. And what does a wood planer do?
Shaves wood.
Shaves wood. Yep. And what can you do with shaved, thin pieces of wood?
Start a fire.
You betcha. The best thing for thin pieces of shaved wood is getting a fire. And I'm not talking just necessarily with a lighter. I'm talking with like fire starting material, whether it's a spark type or whether you're starting it with a bow type, whatever, and you're blowing on it to get coals. One of those things, thin pieces of dry wood, man, that stuff lights up like you wouldn't believe.
Now, folks, just so you know, on a wood planer, especially an old one like this, and I don't know what the bottom of it looks like, but I'm going to say a very large portion, if not all, maybe 95 to 100% of them, you can actually take the blade off and you can actually use it for something else.
Yep.
So it's a really important multi-tool from that respect. And you may think, Grandma and Grandpa, I've got that from their days gone by. I don't know why I ever hung on to it. Well, okay. It's really interesting what you can do in a survival situation with things that you never thought you'd ever need. So,
we just take that blade, like we talked about, you could take that blade out, take your duct tape, attach it to a piece of wood, and you got a knife.
Yep. Great example right there.
I mean, there's some of your materials you're using, and that we got right here, and doing survival stuff.
Steve, that's good stuff. Appreciate you doing that.
Certainly, my man.
And guys, what we wanted to do was kind of give you a little bit of a real life scenario. Maybe not. And look, this segment wasn't about prepping. I don't know where you're at with all that, but even then, being able to go out into your garage and see some of the common everyday things that you have, you need to just think about how you might be able to use them. That's all we're trying to do here, is just to provoke your mind to think about it a little bit. And these are some great examples.
Because the way things look, you never know when Armageddon's going to be around. You know what I mean?
I've got so many different other things. You had a number of slides here that we could have gotten into, and maybe we'll do another one of these in the future.
Yeah, let's do part 2.
Yeah.
Let's do part 2, because I think it's really good.
You
know, I did hear a story, and it was several years ago, and it was a young person, and they got lost, and they were found, and they asked her, "What did you do?" And she goes, "I remember something I saw on television. It was some way to survive."
Yeah.
And that's what she did. So I do think it's really important, especially, you know, I don't go camping. I don't do very much in the wilderness, but it's good knowledge to have. Because instead of being out there and saying, I don't know what to do, you know?
There's some great comments on here, and I really appreciate that. We have used shaving to start fire in our smoker for our beehives. That's from Kinsley Wren.
Yep.
Thank you. Let me see here. There was one other one here. I missed it. But my apologies. But yeah, guys, thanks for sharing those things, because everybody can take a look at those and really see the different things that can be used. And that's what we're wanting to do. That's exactly what we're wanting to do. I know that if I were in a survival situation, I would want to sing to myself a little bit. I don't know about you guys. I'd want to sing. But I think actually we probably ought to do a song review by Ryan to see if that song would be applicable for the moment. So Ryan, let's do a little song review, shall we?
Come on, Captain.
Yes, sir. And if you don't mind reminding me what cut that is.
That is cut number 36. And you guys need to give Ryan a little grace. We don't have as many computers as we would love to have here. And, you know, so he's trying to make sure that we're online with the cuts. That's why we tell him what cut to go to every time, because he doesn't get the opportunity to really look and see where exactly we are in the show map. But cut number 36, Mr. Ryan. And today's song is cut number 37. Dun, da, da, da. Beloved.
Today's song is Beloved by Wren Collective. Now, real quick, it's been a while since we've done a song from these guys, so a little background on them again real quick. They started off as, I believe, a young adults group in Northern Ireland, and they eventually just decided to start making music.
And they've got some really interesting songs.
They do. So this song's really interesting, and I picked it because it shows, I think, an issue going on in Christian music today. So Wren Collective used to be my favorite Christian artist. Now, as of today, I would say it's Keith and Kristen Getty, but it used to be Wren Collective. And I remember listening to the album this song is from. And I read some of the lyrics, and I was like, I don't think that's right. I'm not so sure about that. And then some of their more recent stuff, I just feel like they've kind of gone off the rails, and their theology just ain't what it used to be. And that's kind of where a lot of what's happened with a lot of Christian artists. Not all of them,
Yep.
but a decent amount. So I thought this would be a very interesting song to look at. But let's just dive in here. Verse 1. I can't imagine what it feels like as a father to have to see your children tear apart each other. Out of all the hating and the fighting, all the breaking and dividing, will the answer ever come? I know you pray that we'd be one. Now that first verse doesn't sound too bad. There's nothing there that sounds like too much of a problem. What do y'all think? My opinion.
I do have an opinion, actually.
Okay.
I do have an opinion.
I thought you had facts.
I don't like the phrase that we'd all be one. What I want to see there that we would all be in the Spirit. The Spirit is what's going to unify us. And so if we have people who are pointing fingers, and we do, and there's a good place for it when you're calling out a false prophet or bad theology. To me though, you're one if you're in the Spirit honoring the Lord. Not, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't think that...
I honestly thought that's what they were trying to get at with that line. I could be wrong.
Well, I will say this: when you look at that verse, to me, it's slightly just disjointed. By the way, for those of you that have never written music,
the wording is a little weird. I will give you that.
The lyrics is the most important part of the song, and it's hard to put lyrics to music, if you will. It's not. It's not as easy things. So I give a lot of grace on this, but my take on this, when you look at it, I can't imagine what it feels like as a father to have to see your children tear apart each other. Can we all agree with that?
Yes.
That's solid. Don't have an issue. Out of all the hating and the fighting, all the breaking and dividing, will the answer ever come?
Yes.
I know you pray that we'd be the one. To what? That would be my question.
That we'd be one.
That we'd be one. I know that you
got
pray
it.
that
Okay, now I'm
one.
seeing it better. Now I'm seeing it better. Yep. Okay, so I kind of like the verse. I like, keep going.
Okay. All right. Let's get into the chorus here where my big problem lies. We are your beloved, all of us beloved. You don't see left or right. You just see your precious child. We are your beloved.
Oh, that's mushy.
Very mushy.
So, folks, I would say I agree with the statement, you don't see left or right. What do you see? Jesus sees just. I've said this before. I tell our young people all the time, God is not fair. And may I go ahead and tell you that are listening, God is not fair. Never has been, never will be. Why? Because he is just. He's not fair. He's just. He's going to make sure things are right. Period. And fair is man's word. Fair is a word that we have come up with to describe how we feel about what is right or wrong. So this chorus is very
I think
mushy.
the left and right, is that referring to politics?
That's what I at first thought, but I've had people tell me that could refer to other things, and that's one thing that me and my friend Winston plan to do when we release our songs is we really want to put out line-by-line explanations for them, because that's what me and Winston have talked about this. We think that's what every artist should do, because there's some songs out there, it's just like, what the heck are you talking about?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
I think every artist needs to put out line-by-line explanations of their songs to avoid confusion.
Okay.
So that's what I thought. That's what I think when I read that line. Is it referring to politically left and right, or does it mean something else? There's no clarity.
Keep going.
Right. Verse 2, you reimagine all our enemies as brothers and build a home within the shelter of each other. We gotta let our love do all the talking, see the person through the problem, because together we are strong. Maybe we can be as one.
Okay, I don't...
Sounds really
I do not
mushy.
like this. So,
Really mushy.
first of all, God is not reimagining anything. At the beginning of the creation of man, he knew exactly what we were going to be like. He's not reimagining. This goes full head on into the issue of free will. And I've said this before. John Arthur has stressed this on this program. We know that God loves us because he gave us free will. He gave us the ability to choose. If you have no choice, there is no love. Period. Full stop. So he's not reimagining. He's not reimagining anything.
I will say, though, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, ma'am.
I was just going to say, when you say we got to let our love do all the talking, there's a time that you have to, your testimony needs to do the talking more than words. That's appropriate in some situations. See the person through the problems. I think you have to give some grace.
Yes.
To people. So those two things there I can see scripturally. Let your testimony.
So can I.
Do it, Ryan.
And that line about reimagining all our enemies as brothers, I think what they're getting at is God wants all to come to repentance. But once again, the wording is very weird. It's not very clear.
I was going to say, if that's the case, that is very poor and unclear.
That's what I was going to say.
The main problem
right
lies
there.
with the word reimagine.
Well, and I would say all our enemies. Now, which enemies
are we talking about?
Sure. Are we talking about
I didn't
the demonic enemies, or are we talking about, like, if I have, like, enemies that are worldly enemies, you know, where our worldly enemies become brothers or are we talking about demonic? I can't see demonic enemies becoming our brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can't see where that's reimagined and becomes brothers. That I don't see God redoing that. That's just not.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Keep going, Ryan.
All right. The bridge. What if just 3 words could change the world? You are beloved. With your fractures, failures, flaws, and scars, you are beloved. You're the apple of God's eye, his treasure and his prize. What if just these words could change the world? Once again,
I'll tell you what, guys. Theologically,
weak.
Very weak. Very weak. And I'm not saying that Ren Collective is a bad, no, because they've got some great music.
They really do.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this particular song, if it were my song, I'd be like, no, we're not going to release this. That's me.
I don't think every group has every single song that comes out that is perfectly scripturally, that follows perfect scripture. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's always something in somewhere in some group's song to where something in a verse may not line up correctly. So,
but I would say this. I mean, we've reviewed a few songs that were unbelievably theologically sound.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, was it last week or the week before? We did a tremendous song. I mean, it was super rich. And folks, look, at the end of the day, what is going in your ear gate and your eye gate is going to affect you. That's why we bring these things up. We don't want to be lazy listeners because it affects us. Satan was over the area of music. What do you think he would use to lead us astray?
Music.
Hello. Just chew on that for a little while.
So,
you know, Here's an idea. You know, after we're done reviewing a song, I think it might be wise to get Ryan on our next review to have him play the song. Somebody mentioned that here.
I don't think
we can't.
We don't have time for that?
Yeah.
No, it's not an issue of time.
Because, man,
that's a legal issue.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
So you can
Well, I thought we had...
you can only play a clip up to so many seconds.
Yep.
Well, then why can't we do that?
Because it's only about 15 seconds.
Yeah.
It's not long enough to do it.
Here's what I say, Ryan, when we're dealing with music. These are entertainers. I know they're like, well, we're ministering, but they're also in a career. And if they want to move their career forward, they've got to come up with songs that are going to sell.
If they are trying to appeal to a specific audience, yes.
Now, here's the difference. And I'm not going to fault entertainers, okay? Because I love a lot of music. I listen to a lot of music. But here's the problem. If your pastor touched theology the way, or dealt with theology the way some of the musicians did, would you go to that church?
Probably not.
So what we're saying is we may be looking at two separate types of ministry. And should we be looking at two types of ministry? And again, I am not running any group in the ground because that's not my world. And I think a lot of people have good hearts. But I think sometimes we have to take in consideration, they also have to make money. And they have to move forward if they're going to still be on the charts. Mm-hmm. And they have to, and so they may not even be the ones writing these lyrics.
Yeah, but our concern is making sure that we're not lazy listeners.
Yeah.
But also, my thing is Colossians 3:16 says to teach and admonish each other in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. And what does the Bible say about teaching? That's a very serious thing.
Yes, it is.
You'll be held to account for what you
You're
taught.
right.
I think that's a strong point.
You can't be lazy with your theology, even in music.
It's a good point.
Mrs. Texas Freedom Road, you are exactly right. We got to watch the doorway and gateway to our minds and our hearts. D. Landry, hey, if you're running by McDonald's, I'll take a Big Mac, please.
Oh, my gosh.
So go ahead and just having fun there. And Cheryl Ann, fries with a tartar, please. No, that is not right. I'm telling you, I don't want to lose you as a listener, but that's not right. Having fun with you. Ryan, that was a great song to really pick out. I think we see the struggle of some of these, is that something I should be really just jamming on all day long, every day? And I think we can kind of conclude there that that's a questionable one, for sure.
It is.
So appreciate you bringing that out.
One last thing real quick.
Yes, sir.
You really need to put a lot of thought and care into music. Like I said, it's a form of teaching.
Good point.
And for those of you that don't know, Ryan wants to one day really lead music.
Me and my friend Winston we've written some original songs. We're planning to record hopefully soon. And one thing about this, and Mr. Charlie can test this, I've had him look through one of my songs and and I've asked him, is this line theologically okay? And I don't just go to Mr. Charlie for that. I do every song I write, I go to multiple people and have them check my theology. So how much care are you putting into what you make?
That is a tremendous point.
Absolutely right, Ryan.
Absolutely. Well, it is time to get into Nikki Knows Facts. Oh. Cut number 42, Mr.
Yes.
Ryan. Cut number 42. Here we go.
Facts are flying.
Yes, today we are doing holy
macaroni. Oh, no. We mean matrimony.
Holy matrimony.
Oh, matrimony.
Who did that? Did you do that?
What?
You did that.
No, I didn't. I wouldn't do that to you.
Yes, you
Also,
would.
real quick,
That was John Arthur.
He probably did, yeah.
John Arthur.
No, Charlie didn't.
What did you want to say, Ryan?
Real quick, I apologize. Some of the cuts are going to look a little weird. I'll fix them, but
We'll
they're
get
gonna
on-
look a
yeah.
little weird for a second because there was
Something
just
happened to
some
the-
issue today. I
Yep.
couldn't fix all the cuts.
All right, Captain.
We'll make it though.
But
If anybody has any
sorry.
complaints, just drop
Send 'em to
them
John
in the
Arthur.
chat, and we'll get on to Ryan for it.
There you go. We'll dock your pay.
Go from $0 to $0.
That's right.
No.
Cut number 43,
Miss
Ryan.
Nikki.
Cut number 43.
Holy matrimony. Okay. So from the beginning of time, marriage has been the practice of every tribe, every nation across the world. Of course it has. Otherwise, how do you generate the next generation, right? So going on, we're going to talk a little bit about the Bible. Go to the next cut. Genesis 2:23 and 24. And Adam said, "This is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh." The beginning of time. This is the way God ordained marriage between a man and a woman.
Amen.
And we can find it in the Old Testament, and we can jump over to the New Testament in Mark 10, the next slide. Mark 10, 6 through 8, Jesus said, "From the beginning of creation, God made them male and female. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. So they are no more twain, but one flesh." So man and wife produce children, marriage from the beginning of time. Well, let's get into some of this interesting questions about marriage.
Excuse me. Is this where the T leaves the LGBTQ?
No.
What?
That's what I'm thinking.
Well,
What?
it says he
Excuse
makes
me?
them man and woman, and that's where the T leaves the LGBTQ.
Well,
Right? No more T?
I would say that there's some T's that have not had their operations and could still. Yes.
Okay.
That's just me.
But just throwing it out there to see.
Let's look at some.
Focus, yes.
Let's look at some fun facts
Focus.
about marriage. Go on to the next
This
slide.
this is hilarious, folks. I mean, we're going to start getting into the funny stuff now, kind of scary stuff. But go ahead, cut number 46.
So, to death do us part. Again, how long is that? Let's look at some marriages. How long some marriages have lasted that have been recorded.
Now, Ryan, you'll want to definitely make sure this next slide is fixed. This is cut number 47.
Thank you for that.
We're going to talk about the longest marriages on record.
Wow.
The longest.
Longest. Now there is a
Keep it up there.
Karam Chand and Qatari Chand, and I'm probably
You're butchering it.
I probably am.
I mean,
But
come
they
on.
were married December 11th, 1925, and their length of their marriage lasted 90 years and 291 days.
Wow.
It was until he died on September 27th, 2016. That's a long time.
Yes.
And I know what
that
you
is
guys
a
are
long
asking.
time.
You're going, how old were they?
Yeah.
We don't have the answer for that.
And by the way, this is all from
Wow.
wikipedia.org that I got this information. They lived in the United Kingdom. And then we're going to move to another couple, David Jacob Hiller and Sarah Hiller. And they got married in April 23rd, 1809. They were married for 88 years and 350 days until Sarah died April 8th, 1898. And that was in Michigan. That's
That's piling on some years.
and
Yeah,
then we're
that
gonna.
is.
It is, and then we have. I'm gonna blow this name.
That is K. Philippos Thomas Sosama Thomas.
They were married February 17th, 1918, and they were married for 88 years and 2 days until the wife died February 19th, 2006, and that was in India. So I was actually surprised. You know, we had a couple here at our church, Iris and Bill Thorne, and I went to their 75th wedding anniversary, and they died 2 years after that. But I thought that was a milestone.
That was
My
huge.
ex-wife's parents are working on their 76
That's
years.
right.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
I know your in-laws. Yeah, they're
Yes.
awesome. Okay, so we had I don't know if I don't have this on there, so stay on this. Don't go to the next one yet. So they did a study on all marriages over 50 years. People who have been married for over 50 years. And here's what they found out. Marital permanency. Divorce is not an option. And then there's faith in each other, love, ability to make concessions, admiration, reliance on each other, children, and strong communication.
Now, folks, leave that up there, Ryan. Leave that up there. Okay, folks that are watching, if you really feel like you need to, you better get your pen and paper right now, and you better put these things down. Okay? This is for your kids. This is for your grandkids. Maybe it's for you. Don't know. Get your pen and paper. Write this down. Marital permanency. Divorce is not an option. You should not be speaking the D word in any argument. Stop it. That's where division comes.
Yep.
Stop it. Divorce is not an option. You know what? How about we just chain you together? Chain you together, put you in a room. You better figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Well, these are things.
Figure it out.
These are things.
Hold on. I want to go a little bit further with this. Go ahead, put it back up there, Ryan. Faith in each other, love for each other. Now, here's a big one. You better learn how to make some concessions. You better learn how to do it. Okay?
That goes for the men too.
Amen. Amen. Admiration and respect. Women, can I tell you something that your man wants? The single most important thing to him. Respect.
More than anything.
More than anything.
And she can use some respect too.
Respect. No, you're right.
They both
men
want and need love and respect, but men, they primarily want is respect. Women primarily want love.
There you go. Couldn't have said it better. Couldn't have said it better.
And that's from a
youngin'.
Yeah.
That's from a youngin'. Reliance on each other. Children. Hello. What? Strong communication. By the way, there are two things that will tear your marriage apart better than anything else. Money, the issue of money, and the inability to communicate.
Yep.
I just gave you two of the top. At the top. So that list, put it up there one more time, Ryan, because I want people to get it. And darling, I'm sorry. I got to get people the opportunity to really look at this, because we're talking about marriages over 50 years.
And the marital permanency, where you have divorce is not an option and faith in each other, that right there is based on godly principles.
Yes.
That goes towards Jesus, spending time in church and in Bible study.
And just to be really clear, I can't go any further without saying this. I'm sorry. We're not saying that God does not allow a divorce. We are not saying that.
That's a good apologetics topic for one.
Thank you.
Man,
that
you're not
certainly
kidding.
is. What we are saying is stop using divorce, the word divorce, as a tool to leverage yourself.
Well, let's move on to the next segment, because this is
where it gets really fun.
Okay, go to the next slide here. According to brides.com, I do, then again, I don't. The shortest marriage on record is 3 minutes. Now,
What?
yes, 3 minutes. So in Kauai, in 2019 in Kauai, a couple got married in front of the Justice of the Peace. They walk outside. The woman trips and falls down. And the man mocks her and calls her stupid. They just got married. So she picked herself up. She went in and told the judge to annul the marriage. I do, but then again, I don't.
How long was the dating process? Did they know each other?
You know
Who
what?
knows?
I don't really know. I don't really know. It's crazy. But go on to the next one. This is very interesting and somewhat disturbing.
Sorry, let me fix that real quick.
That's
Sorry,
all right.
guys.
Yep.
This man's name is Reverend Glenn Scotty Wolf.
Did you say Reverend?
Yeah. Get this. He was a. This
Wolf?
is this is in Wikipedia. He was a Baptist minister and a hotel owner.
What?
Yeah. Between 1926 until his death in 1997, he married 29 times.
Oh, something's wrong with this dude.
No wonder his last name
Something's
Wolf.
really wrong with this dude.
So here's some interesting facts. His shortest marriage lasted 19 days. The longest marriage lasted 11 years. Now, 5 of his marriages ended with the death of a spouse, and I think one was his death. Okay, so that's kind of suspicious, isn't it?
No wonder his last
He should have
name
been
Wolf.
investigated.
I know. And so most of the women that he married were teenagers when he married them.
Man.
Now, 3 of his marriages, he divorced the women and then remarried them. So that's 6 out of the 29. Now, some of you older people will remember Robert Blake, who played on Beretta.
Yes.
And remember, he was accused of murdering his first wife. Well, that woman was also married to this man. You believe that? Yeah, crazy.
She
He
had
was
a penchant
found.
for the wrong kind of men.
He was found not. Robert Blake was found not guilty. He was charged with something else, but he was found not guilty of murder. But anyway, Wolf had 19 children with these 29 marriages. He died on June 10th, 1997 in California at a nursing home of heart disease at the age of 88. This is the sad part. You're married 29 times. You have 19 children. His body went unclaimed, and he was eventually buried wherever they take people.
Kinsley
yeah.
Wren is
I
like,
would
she
hate-
can't believe it.
To see his child support payment.
Or Kinsley, I'm not sure.
They said
I'm
that.
thinking that's female gender. Kinsley, yes, you read the number and heard the number correctly. 29 times.
Yeah, it's in Wikipedia if you want to go look that up.
It's unreal. Unreal.
The more I did this, the more I really did.
You know, his last name really fits him.
Wolf.
Wolf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
You know, to be a Baptist minister, that is just
Yes, and
because that's not
that's
acceptable
what's really
in a
appalling
Baptist.
to me. I mean, I hope you had maybe 2 congregants for your church because you're not. I got to be careful here. Sorry, I got to be so careful.
Okay, so I'm going to have one more slide, and this always gets.
This is mind blowing.
This one gets me. This next one. This is King Solomon.
Oh.
And in 1 Kings 11, 1-3, listen to this. King Solomon loved many strange women, which means they were not of his culture, of his religion. Together with the daughter of Pharaoh. Now, women, he had women of the Moabites, the Ammonites, Edomites, Zazonians, Hittites. Now, where does it say? Okay. Of all the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go in into them, neither shall they come in into you, for surely they will turn your heart away after their gods. But Solomon clave unto these in love. Now, listen to this. He had 700 wives and 300 concubines, and his wives turned his heart away from the Lord. I have always in my mind wondered, did he really know all 1,000 of these women? How many children did he really have? And I just have questions.
I don't see how he kept track of all of them.
I have questions.
Well, the thing for me is the dude was given more wisdom than any before him or any after. This does not sound like he's using that wisdom.
Yeah.
I know.
Not at all.
Why a wise man would not have that many wives?
or that many mother-in-laws.
Like,
I mean, really.
Life switch really hit the nail on the head. Busy boy.
I just every time I read that in the Bible, I just have questions. I have so many questions.
I've heard a lot of people say they can barely handle one spouse.
Yeah, you got that right.
Boy, that's for sure.
That is unreal. Darling, that was a really good segment there. That was most interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting. Nikki knows facts. She comes up with this wild stuff that you would.
Oh, I do
never
more, but
know.
my husband won't let me. He'll tell me,
He's scared.
You're not doing that
no,
one.
I'm not scared.
He's in fear.
No. Yep.
I have mysteries that I'd like to go into, but Charlie can't handle them.
We should talk about locked room mysteries.
Oh, no, stop. Final comments of the day, my darling. Shall we start with you?
I found it very interesting about finding out that Texas can't succeed. I'm not sure if I'm upset or not about that yet.
Secede.
Because I've always had that in my back pocket that we could leave.
It is a tough word. It's not succeed. It is secede.
Secede.
Yeah.
Secede.
That's all right. No worries. Mr. Steve.
Yes. It was really interesting to know that many states had decided to secede from
Yes.
the Union.
I didn't realize
I
that.
had no clue about that.
Yep.
And it was really interesting. I mean, and I was a big history person and studied a lot of civics in high school, and that was never taught.
You didn't
to
know
me,
that?
and I never knew that.
Yep.
And it's so strange that that sort of thing was never taught. And it just blows my mind that they wouldn't teach.
And this is why we go over the historical documents, because there's a lot of people that have not ever seen these documents, and we should be taught these things.
These should be taught in school.
Absolutely.
I totally agree.
Mr. Ryan.
Hold on. I think this was a pretty good episode today. We went over a lot of good stuff, but I think my favorite thing was those 8 things for marriages after 50 years, like keys to a great marriage.
Yeah.
Because
and that's why I wanted to leave that up. Hey, for those of you watching, Ryan is available. Okay.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
He's
Yes.
great young man, good godly young man.
But I'm not sure I'm ready for marriage just yet.
But he is available for dating.
There you go.
I still think I have a lot to learn. I need to figure out what to do with my life. So
There you go.
Understood.
So dating is okay then? Yes.
probably not. Not yet. I'm just trusting and praying the Lord brings the right girl at the right time.
That's
Absolutely.
great. Sheila W207, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We do hope that everybody enjoyed the show today. And I just want to say that I'm in agreement with Steve that we should be teaching these documents in our schools. And the Declaration of Causes today was a most interesting study. And as I told you, I could have gone 2 to 3 hours on this whole thing. We could have gone into a lot of offshoots of just this document. And we didn't. Not because we didn't want to, but for time's sake. But you can see the dangers of secession. And I hope that if you're one that has talked about secession in the past, that maybe we've given you something to really think about. Is it really the right way to go? And I would say, going back to what we looked at biblically, I don't think it is. As much as I get upset with Governor Newsom, as much as I get upset with Governor Hochul, as much as I get upset with Governor Pritzker, it's not a reason to leave. It's just not. Sometimes we might feel like kicking them out. Might I remind you, not everybody in the state of California is bad. Not everybody in the state of New York is bad.
Amen.
Not everybody in the state of Texas is good.
Well, yeah, that's a great point right there. We've got our own problems
Here in Texas.
So anyway, I hope that we've given you something to think about.